We are, everybody hears that. And hi guys, my name is Jeremy Parzan. I'm the go-to presenter for the Italy America Chamber of Commerce South Central, which covers Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Oklahoma, right? Am I not mistaken? We're really happy to be here today. We have John Min, who is the chief economist for Monex, which you guys are going to learn about today. And we also have Andrew Woelflein, who is the chief strategist officer for the company. And I really mean this. Alessia and I, we also have Alessia Palicki, the director of the Italy America Chamber of Commerce. And we're going to hear from her in a second. The 5 minutes we spent on our pre-game were some of the most fast, talking about exchange rates, talking about dollar buying power, when you're buying, rates, and all this kind of stuff, and also talking about the red carpet service that the chamber now offers. Before I give the host platform over to John so he can screen share, Alessia, would you like to tell us, Monex is part of the new red carpet service that the chamber is offering, and it's really exciting. And can you talk to us a little bit about that, Alessia? Guys, welcome Alessia Palicki, the director of the Italy America Chamber of Commerce South Central.
Good morning to our American attendees and buongiorno ai nostri partecipanti dall'Italia. This webinar and the service Monex will show you is exactly part of a larger package that the Chamber put together with the aim of helping Italian companies in an economical, practical, and fast way to put in place all the legal, tax, and regulatory requirements that are needed to be able to do business in the US and face the competition already here on an equal footing instead of at a disadvantage. This package is called Red Carpet and includes a consultation with an attorney, followed by the incorporation of the most suitable type of US company, a consultation with a CPA to discuss financial options and tax expectations, including the first year tax return. The CPA is what we call commercialista in Italy. A meeting with an immigration lawyer when and if visa is needed. The registered agent service, mandatory in US at the chamber office, and the registered agent service is what we call domiciliazione fiscale in Italy. Assistance to open up a bank account and to eventually even manage it while there is no representative in US. Temporary physical workspace with the flexibility and costs unattainable from classic rental solutions. And last but not least, ability to transfer sums of money around the world easily, cheaply, and quickly, bypassing the difficulties of the US banking system. All those steps done in a time frame of no more than 2 weeks and at absolutely affordable costs for the medium, small, or family companies. And I finished saying that the choice to create the red carpet service is due to the absolute certainty gained through many years of experience that the path to success in the US passes through the possession of these tools. Thank you for being here. Now the floor back to you, Jeremy. Thank you for being our moderator as usual, and to our distinguished guests.
It's my pleasure, Alessia. And I got to say, I've really enjoyed getting to chat with John and Andrew. As a matter of fact, they also helped me with they gave me some mortgage advice too. They're great guys. John, I'm gonna go ahead and make you the host. And
got it.
And that's gonna allow you to share your screen, and you go ahead. And I'll let you introduce yourself. Thank you so much, John. I've enjoyed getting to interact with you. And I know you have a hard cutoff, so we're going to just let you go and you tell us what you need to do. I hope the fire alarm is out.
No, the fire alarm is still going, and it's happy Tuesday and the election day for Washington, D.C. I voted earlier this morning. And I do apologize for having NCBFAA logo on it because I have another presentation right after this one. I think there are 3 presentations today because everyone is interested to know where the US economy is going to be in the coming months. So without any hesitation, let me go right through the advertisement. Our marketing department asked us to share this slide. There are 84 financial institutions, some of their biggest in the world, and they submit their forecast to Bloomberg every 3 months. And 3 months later, they ranked us based on how accurate our forecast has been. And for the past 5 quarters, we've been #1 4 times and #3 once. So we're beating out some of the biggest financial institutions in terms of forecasting. And we're going to share some of our insights with you in the next 10 or 15 minutes. And if you want to understand what's happening in the United States, you just need to know one thing. Because of the COVID shutdown about 18 months ago, the government, we call it Uncle Sam as a joke, but Uncle Sam spent $5.3 trillion in stimulus. So in the United States, you receive 3 checks, $600, $800, $300, plus additional government spending.
John, your slide didn't ping. Sorry, it didn't ping.
It didn't sync.
Yeah.
Can you see it? Second one?
Just the cover slide.
Just the cover slide.
You got to click on the next one.
Let me do it this way.
Yeah, click there.
Better?
Yeah, there. Yes. Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
it's on
There
the
you
other
go.
screen.
Yep.
Yep. So the stimulus was about $5 trillion. US economy is about $24 trillion. So it's almost like giving everyone extra 20% income because of the COVID. And guess what we did? Collectively, we went shopping because Uncle Sam was keep giving us checks. We said, all right, if you want us to spend, we spend it on goods. And as a result, last year, US economy grew at 5.7%. Phenomenal. We even beat out the Chinese economy because it was an artificial boost though. We used to call it the sugar high because we're getting so much money from the government. We went out and spent and consumers drove the growth up 5.3%. Everything else was marginal. As a result, we start seeing things like this. We bought everything and there weren't enough things to buy. As a consequence, we had a record amount of imports coming into the United States, mostly from Asia. And that caused supply chain issues that everyone is aware of. And in certain industries, especially logistics and warehouse, there was a shortage of workers. And in order to hire, even the Amazon, they had to increase the pay to find more and more workers to support the surge in demand. As a consequence, we're not surprised that we have inflation in the United States. And in fact, back in March of earlier this year, inflation peaked close to 9% compared to last year. It's the highest inflation rate seen in about 30, 35 years or so. Now, the question was this going to be temporary or is it going to continue to go up? And of course, our Fed chairman, Powell, he assured us about 6 months ago, is a transitory. In other words, it's one-time effect and the prices will go down. And he pretty much cited that he expects the oil and gas prices to decline, and which it did second half of this year. So he was right about that. The rise in gas prices was just temporary, and it came back down to pre-COVID level. And then the surge in shipping costs around the world because there was so much demand, that also has gone away. So sending a container from Asia to the United States is back to pre-COVID, actually lower than that. It's about $2,000 per container. At one point, it went up to $12,000 a container. So based on that, we thought inflation would be coming down in the United States. But looking at the expression of Chairman Powell, he was getting really disturbed because inflation kept going up in the US. And the disturbing part is the core inflation. Core inflation is the part we take out food and energy because they tend to be volatile. And the core inflation in the United States is going up to the level we have not seen since 1980s, early part of 80s. And the main reason is because when we measure inflation in the United States, the fuel is a very small part of that measurement, CPI, Consumer Price Index. Really, if you want to figure out what's happening in the US, you have to look at the lodging, which is really the rents that people pay, and the food. These are the big items. And looking at the rent prices in the United States, which makes up 1/3 of CPI, is 9% higher than last year. And if you look at the housing shortages in the United States, there are not enough houses for sale. We expect the rent price to stay elevated at 9, even 10% for the next coming months, which is not good for the inflation story we're telling. And if you look at the food prices in the United States, it's up about 13% compared to last year. And there's no sign that food prices are coming down as we speak, as long as situation in Ukraine persists. And then if you look at the labor cost, it just surged. And now our concern is whether this is just one-time post-COVID surge and it's going to come down, or it's going to stay elevated. The real concern about the labor cost is that once it goes up, it gets very sticky. And ultimately, employers have to raise their prices as well. And that's called wage inflation. And that's really a dangerous aspect of inflation. Once it gets up there, it's going to be hard to come down. And right now in the United States, we have a bizarre situation. There are 2 job openings for everyone who's looking for a job. As a consequence, we feel that the wage rate will stay sticky and it's going to be elevated. As a result, Chairman Powell is really upset that his whole thesis about this year, the inflation was temporary and it's going to go away. And it seems like that's not going to happen. So borrowing a playbook from a Fed chairperson, Volcker, back in the 80s, we know what exactly the Fed is going to be doing, and they've been doing it. They've been raising the interest rates. That's why, Jeremy, I thought the mortgage rate will continue to go up. The current rate of increases in the interest rate, that just happened last week as well, is the fastest we've seen recently. Now the question is, how high would it go up? And taking a step back, even at the current short-term interest rate, we're still very low. So we feel that the Fed is going to continue to raise the interest rate even higher. So Jeremy, we're talking about the 30-year mortgage rate in the United States being 7.5. It's possible to see close to 10%.
Yeah.
And the main reason is because looking at some of the indicators, our unemployment is still very low in the US. And if you look at the people filing for the unemployment benefit for the first time, we get this data on every Thursday. There's no sign that the employment market is slowing down in the US, which means the wages will stay elevated. And the personal spending, consumer spending is still very solid, actually slightly above the pre-COVID. Although the savings that we had, the extra savings we had because of the stimulus checks, we have used them up. And there's a sign that the US economy might be slowing down just a tiny bit. This is one of my favorite indicators, the credit card use on luxury goods, and that has been falling. So I think we're at this, at current level, employment market is very tight. Consumer is still spending, although they're spending out of their savings. There is some sign they're holding it back, but it's not enough to get the inflation down. Main reason is because our Fed, or the Federal Reserve, that controls the interest rate, they're fixated on this, and I'm not going to go through all the details. This is the nerdy econ part, but idea is, in order to get the wage inflation down, you need to make sure that the unemployment rate goes up. That's the Phillips curve. And then in order to get the unemployment rate up, you need to get the economy to go contract. So the bottom line is, no one's talking about it. The Federal Reserve is going to cause inflation in the US. So this is kind of tragedy of the whole story. Inflation is caused by the federal government giving too much money 18 months later, now they have to cause inflation to get the inflation down. So in many respects, everything is caused by the federal government. They got too involved with the stimulus checks. Now they have to crush the economy. What that means is that pretty much everyone is expecting a recession next year. In fact, Bloomberg, they surveyed all the leading economists on the Wall Street. We think there's a 60% chance of a recession for the US economy. But we think at the Monex it's close to 90% chance there'll be a recession. And then in respect to the dollar, in order to cause recession in the United States, the Federal Reserve have to raise the interest rate even higher and higher than where we are now. When interest rate goes up in the US, it attracts more foreign money because they want higher return. That's going to make the dollar very, very strong. So we believe the first quarter of next year, we will be setting new highs against the euro and some of the major currencies around the world. And you can feel it. I just traveled 3 different countries in the last 60 days. It's so nice to have a US dollar in your pocket. It can buy you so much more stuff compared to last year. And we think that trend will continue. And that's our official forecast. Recession next year and strong dollar. That's the weather forecast for the United States.
John, before you have to go, and I have to ask a technical question. Andrew, are you doing okay? I just got a message from Andrew that he needed to evacuate.
Yeah, it's a fire drill once every 6 months. We didn't have no idea about, but I think we'll be okay.
You're okay, good. I just wanted to make sure you weren't running out of a burning building or anything.
No.
Like good news. I just one question for you, John, before you go. And I know, of course, if somebody has a question, please go ahead and unmute yourself and jump in. I'm going to ask a rookie question. With the strength of the dollar, does that mean we're going to see more Americans buying Italian goods to import to the United States? I mean, for example, in food and wine sector, are we going to see wine importers saying, look, the dollar's strong, so I'm going to buy a bunch of euro right now and buy a bunch of wine while I can? Or what should we, your last slide is kind of the thing I think everybody's is curious about.
We have 3,000 corporate clients at Monex in the US. And for the last 7 months, we've been having record-setting revenue months as the company. And that's because we are seeing exchange rates we have not seen in 22 years in terms of the dollar. So wine importers, food importers, machine tool companies, marble companies that face towards Italy when they import, they've been buying record amounts. And they've been using hedging, simple hedging instrument like forward contracts. So they're buying things, but locking in the exchange rates now for the upcoming months. And at this point, the dollar is so strong against the euro. In fact, we think it's going to go down to 95. I think that's the rock bottom. But you may not see that exchange rate again for another 22 years. So that explains the surge in the volume and interested in locking in the rates for future purchases. That being the case, if the recession gets really bad in the United States, obviously the amount of imports is going to slow. So right now, imports are way up. But if the US economy goes into a recession that we are anticipating next year, then demand for things from Italy, along with anything else, is going to slow.
So I should go shopping on Via Monte Napoleone now.
Now, yes, of course.
I mean, just literally. Anybody have? I know John has a hard cutoff in just a couple of minutes. Does anybody have a question for him?
There is Jeremy Daring who was telling us about the Parmigiano, how cheap he can get the Parmesan now.
Darren, do you want to jump in and share your insight and get a comment from John?
Yeah, hi, Darren Corollo in Dallas here, and I teach high school students accounting, QuickBooks.
Yep.
We go for the QuickBooks certifications. We're doing the.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and it's challenging. But no, I shop at in Dallas. I buy some locally. They import the products from Italy, and products are going on the shelves, and they're all made in Italy. And I've seen the prices drop lower and
Yes.
lower, especially Parmigiano. I mean, it used to be, I mean, if you go to Central Market in Houston, it's 20, 22 a pound, but I've got it, you know, in Dallas, there's this Italian group that has just Italian products in their store, and their prices have just dropped. And so at first it was $9.99 a pound, now it's $8 a pound.
Well, kind of related to that, I'm a currency economist or FX economist. So my wine selection is based on relative strength of the dollar versus that currency. So I've been drinking Argentinian wine, that's a special. South African wine, because South African rand is so inexpensive relative to the dollar. Now with the parity, I can afford to drink Northern Italian wines.
Sounds like we have some Barolo in our future, John.
Yes, definitely. Barolo will be fantastic.
Before we let John go, and John, I'm going to go ahead and reclaim the host from you and pass it over to.
Yep, I'm going to stop sharing. There you go.
And you know, we hope you can stay with us as long as you can. I'm going to go ahead and Andrew, I'm going to assign the host to you. And I don't know if you could just say a couple of words about what you do with the company and what you're going to talk to us about. Thank you so much. And this has been a great webinar so far. So thank you, John.
Great. Thank you, Jeremy, and thank you, John. It's a pleasure to be here with everyone today. I'm Andrew Woelflein, the Chief Strategy Officer, as Jeremy mentioned at Monex. I've been with the company 15 years. And you know, in the time with Monex, I've done many different things. So I've really seen the business from all different angles. I'm going to show you a little bit later just a few quick minutes of our online system. It's a product that I initially designed back in 2008. So we'll take a look at that as well. But I wanted to just give you a sort of quick introduction to the company, and then we'll take a look, you know, talk a little bit about, sorry, let me share my screen here. Just going to share my screen. Here we go.
There you go.
Okay, do you see the cover page here? Okay, let me just put it in presentation mode. Okay, you see the cover page, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So what I would like to do is introduce our company. We've been around over 30 years, and today on a daily basis, we're processing over $1 billion of corporate currency, moving from one currency to another. So that's our specialty. We specialize in corporate foreign exchange. We're doing millions of transactions, and we work with thousands of corporations around the world. This just gives you a feel of sorry, yeah. So you see the global locations that we have all throughout North America, Europe, and Asia. We are a regulated. Let me just bring this up. We are a regulated financial institution. So we're a fintech, but we have financial regulators just like a bank. We have to comply with anti-money laundering, know your client, all the things that the banks do. We're held to the same standards. So we've been doing this for a long time, and we're sort of specialists at handling the regulatory relations, because we do have a fiduciary responsibility to manage client funds very carefully. As John mentioned, we do have very good currency forecasting capabilities, and we share that insight with our clients to help them understand what's happening with the markets, when might be a good time to buy or sell currency, or use a forward contract, other tools that are available to manage currency risk. So we do share that insight with our clients. In terms of capabilities, I've highlighted a couple of things that I think are relevant to the audience here. So we're moving money around the world, converting from one currency to another. With us, you can send and receive US dollar payments to support a US operation. You can use us for accounts payable and accounts receivable. You can convert dollars to euro if you want to. You can convert euros to dollars to fund a US operation. You can You can use dollars and convert to euro if you're importing product from your parent company, or if you have to repatriate profits back to Italy. We allow clients to hold these multi-currency accounts, so you can have one in euro and one in dollar and move between the two currencies. It's very convenient, very easily accessible through our online system that we're going to take a look at in just a minute. And sorry, this, what we see is that the challenges, and we've heard this from companies, the challenges that foreign companies face when they come to the US is that it's not easy to get a bank account. It takes a long time. The foreign company doesn't have an operating history in the US, so the banks don't know them. There's a lot of paperwork. It can take a long time if the approval is even given. And of course, it's very expensive to maintain these accounts once you get them. So this is sort of a pain point that we've heard in the market. And we believe that what we're doing with our multi-currency holding account is that clients, we approve companies in one day. So if you have a US legal entity, a US subsidiary that wants to handle monies coming in and out to manage its operation, we can set them up in one day. We don't require an on-site visit. There's no cost to have the online system. There's no monthly charges. So it's very convenient. And it's important that you can toggle between euro and dollars and euros, and do it for any of your operating activities, whether you're sending dollars to US vendors, or if you're converting dollars back to euro to send money back to Italy to the parent company as a profit dividend. Or we do have a lot of foreign subsidiaries here that use the parent company as a supplier, so they have to pay them in euro. So you can do that as well. And it's very convenient. It's very robust, but also, there's an economic benefit to you as well, because it's much less expensive than banks. So you save money too. So that's a convenient aspect of this as well. Sorry. I'm going to show you our online system. This is something that as I mentioned, I started this back in 2008 as a vision to give clients a platform to handle all of their transactions easily, quickly, conveniently, and securely. So we're gonna take a look at this platform in just a second here. To enable you to work with a company like Monex, as I said, it's very easy, it's very convenient. We have basically it's a 1.5 page application that you would fill out. It's, as Alicia mentioned, it's part of your red carpet services with the IACC. It's just basic business information. We process that and then give you your login credentials, and you can start to transact with us. So it's very easy in that regard. And given our long operating history, and this is effectively all we do, we're very much specialists. It's really to your advantage. You're able to take advantage of all of those decades of experience that we have moving money, making payments, receiving payments for corporate clients. So we sort of just the last deck here, just really we bring FX expertise. We're dedicated specialists. We can tailor strategies to whatever you need, and then we're going to give you these tools that help manage, sort of self-serve 24/7. So I just want to go over here for a second to the online platform, and I'm going to log in. So you can see the login page here now. Okay, good. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to log in. Just give me a second. So this would be the type of platform you would log into, and I'm going to just this is our development version, and so I'm going to I'm going to bring up an account. So when you would log in, this would be the page you would come to. We call this the dashboard page. And from the dashboard, you can do everything you need to do to manage your US operation. You can have staff in Italy that have access to that. You can have staff in the US that have access to this. And so let me just give you a couple of what I call the simple use cases. So the first use case is this. So your parent company wants to give you dollars, and they have euro, and they want to put some dollars into your U.S. operation so you can have capital to start spending. From this platform here, they can convert those euros and get dollars. And so I'm just going to do that. Now, this rate, you're going to get a better rate. This is a high rate. We can probably do a better rate, but this is just in our development system. But so you get a countdown clock here. It shows the rate of exchange. I'm going to buy this. It's a couple of clicks, very easy. I've bought those dollars. I've sold my euros, and I'm going to put them in the holding account. This is the digital account you can use to fund your operation here. Now, in this example, we're saying already that there's some euros sitting with us. Euros do not need to sit with us. You can wire in the euros through SEPA in Europe and send us the euros in Europe, and then we'll credit your dollar account. So just for this example, we'll use the euros that we have on deposit. But you have other ways to send euro if you want. This is just a simple confirmation. You can get a PDF of it. You can print it. It shows you exactly what we've done. And then when I pop back to my dashboard, everything sort of goes back to the dashboard. Here's this transaction right here under recent payments. So it's been initiated in my dollar holding account. This is my dollar holding account. Here are the dollars that I just bought. So here's my dollar balances, and I've got my dollars sitting in this account. I can use them right away. No hassles with banks, nothing. You're ready to go. And then say I want to pay some U.S. vendors. I'm going to pay, just as an example. These are some. I'm going to add another payment. We're going to pay these two vendors we have on this. We can put in invoice information, and so I'm going to now make dollar account payable payments. I've just got $2 payments. I'm going to take the dollars right here out of my operating account because I have them. I own the dollars, and I'm done. So now I've converted euros to dollars, and I've paid my U.S. vendors. As simple as that. And here's the confirmation of those two payments to the U.S. vendors. And now the other thing that you can do, as I mentioned, let's say you're using your parent company as a supplier. You need to pay them some euros. We're going to now buy euros, and I accept the euros, and I've got dollars sitting in my. Let's just pretend this is your parent company, and information goes to them, and we're now paying euros back to Italy. We'll take the dollars. You owe Monex dollars. We've sold you euros, so we're going to take the euros rate. We're going to take the dollars rate out of your holding account and complete the payment. So it's very simple. Whether you're sending money, receiving money. So here's again the confirmation. These are emailed to you as well. And again, when I come back to my dashboard page, this is that euro transaction that I just did. As the monies move along, these different blue buttons will illuminate. So basically the statuses are initiated, funded, sent, and then delivered. So you see exactly where the monies are. Here, these historical rates show you currencies that you would be interested in tracking, just sort of historical rates of where they've been over the past year, month, week, and day, just to give you some historical information. You can change it. So if you didn't want to track the pound and you were interested in the Canadian dollar, you can change it, and it'll track the Canadian dollar. So one of the other nice things about the holding accounts, you can move between them. So if you've got some euros here, if you don't want your euros and you want to put them into dollars, you want $500, you can just sell euros right out of the holding account. I'm now selling euro and buying US dollars. And so this is all done. So you can go between the currencies. If you needed to, if your US operation was doing something in Canada, you could sell euro and buy Canadian. So it's not just dollar euro. So here I've sold some euro and bought dollars. and I'll just put this, I want to put this in my holding account. I also could just send it out to a US recipient as well. So now I'm moving money around between my sort of digital wallet is what we're doing here. So taking the euros out there. And again, if you wanted to not use your Euro account, you could wire the money into us. That's an alternative way to do it.
Andrew,
So
can I ask a quick question?
yeah, of
Real
course.
quick?
And there's your
So
confirmation.
is one of the added values here, and I'm wondering, can you set up notifications that are going to say, hey, Jeremy, you should be buying euros today. Is that part of why I should buy into the service?
So you can do yes. I mean, so you can set up rate alerts. So you can say if a currency gets to a certain rate, you want to be notified, and we can email or text you. So that's one thing you can do here in terms of notifications. And another thing with settings, under our settings, there's all sorts of notifications for different things that happen in the account. You can be emailed or text advised if there are changes, things that are happening in your account. So there's all sorts of levels of notification there. And so and then yes, so that's what we do. We also have a service desk that will, if we're talking with one of the companies here, our team can be on the lookout. If we know you have a big transaction coming up, we can be talking to you. We can, down here you see the forward contracts. We can provide forward contracts. Not all of our clients use forward contracts. What those are, basically, you're saying, I need to sell or buy a currency 6 months from now. What's the rate today?
Yeah.
So we do that. And then market orders is the same thing. You can, well, it's slightly different. You can say a price, you can say a rate at which you will buy a currency. And if it gets to that rate, we will buy it night or day. These are just sort of risk management tools. One of the other things I think it's important to mention is, as you have your Italian subsidiaries open up U.S. entities, I did mention it's difficult to get a U.S. bank account, but eventually you will get a U.S. bank account, right? You're going to at some point. And what I would like to sort of stress is that you can still use this. You can use this service to fund your U.S. bank account, or take dollars from your U.S. bank account and buy the euros with us and send the euros back to Italy. Why would you want to do that? Because the rates are going to be much, much, much better than what the banks give you. So even when you do eventually get a bank account, we coexist with bank accounts all the time. So this can be the mechanism to move between the currencies. And until you get that U.S. bank account, you can make payments. And the same thing, if you have receivables, if I show you, so this, you would give our banking instructions to your clients that owe you money, and they would send you dollars. So for your U.S. receivables, we can receive them here, and then you can do whatever you need to do with your dollars. If you need to convert, if you need to make other payments. So that's how you would use this from a receivable standpoint. But yeah, I think having that specialty for so many decades, it's really, and this is all we build. This is the only platform we focus on. So we've really, we've taken into account. So for example, you see here, I want and I have. We don't use like technical market jargon that confuses people. So, your colleague in Italy could say, okay, I want dollars, and I'm in Italy and I have euros, so I won't complete this transaction, but I'll just sort of show you, I'm selling my euros, I'm buying dollars. And then for the US operating team, if you're needing to pay euros or any other currency, right? You could have other currencies here. You can do all of these from here. So it's very clear, the language. And we came up with that really by talking to clients, like what is important for them. A couple of other things here. So set up payments. This allows you to input payments. So if you had 10 vendors you wanted to pay in all different currencies, or even just in dollars, you could do that from setup payments. And then any of the ones, so I'll show you. We'll do a couple. This is just done a little bit differently. you first set up the payment, and then so I'm going to do a euro payment, and I'm going to do a dollar payment. So this is, I have dollars and I just need to pay some dollars. And so we're going to do this. So we've got a dollar euro payment and a straight dollar to dollar payment. So we'll get a rate of exchange on one, and then the other one, of course, doesn't have a rate of exchange because it's dollars to dollars. So we're going to do this. So and then I just complete that. So basically, with setup payments, you first set up your payments, then you get any rates of exchange and then again, we're completed. You can get the PDF, you can print. With Quick Quote, you get the rate of exchange first, then you set a payment. So it's these two things achieve the same thing, but just in a different order. Some people like to get the rate of exchange first. Others like to first put in the payments and then get the rates of exchange. So this is the tool that will enable you to do it, either way, night or day, 24/7. So it's very convenient for folks whether they're sitting in the U.S. or sitting in Italy.
Gosh, Andrew, I have even more questions, but I don't want to take up time from anybody else. We don't have a ton of time left
Sure.
on this call. Does anybody have a question or a comment or clarification? Does anybody want to jump in?
I have one question.
Yes, Alessia.
Jeremy, it's okay. My question is, like Italian companies, we have an account in euro, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we are here. And so now that the dollar is so strong for us, sometimes it's difficult to decide when to move euro to United States. So what I'm thinking, we are paying the rent. So instead of moving, let's say, a great amount of money from Europe and from Italy and bringing it in United States, it could make sense to set up payments, let's say, to our landlord, maybe just send the money for the rent and pay directly the US landlord, right? And keep the euro there, maybe more months until, the conversion rate is more favorable for us. Is this something that makes sense for you, Andrew?
Well, sure. I mean, in part of it's cash flows, what currency you have. I mean, if a U.S. operation needs dollars, right, they have to be funded.
Yes,
and you can do it. Sometimes companies will do it in one big chunk. Others will do it every month. It just will depend. If you think the euro will get stronger, which, right now we're thinking it's going to continue to get weaker for some time, you might want to convert more euro now because it'll just get weaker into the new year. But we can do that for clients. So that conversation evolves and changes as the markets are changing. I mean, we're at historic, as John said, 20 plus years. The dollar is so strong against euro right now. But I don't think it's going to, we were at 120 more than a year ago. And we're now at parity or even below parity. So I don't know how long the dollar will be so strong, but that's a narrative that's changing all the time. And it's hard to be 100% crystal ball. No one has a crystal ball, right? And at some point, right,
doesn't have a crystal ball.
Yeah. Well, we have a pretty good one, but no one is right. But at the end of the day, an operating company, it has expenses. It has to do something at some point. You'll sell in the U.S. You're going to have U.S. dollar revenue, and in the beginning, a lot of subsidiaries are not sending profits home to Italy. Right, they're getting going, so that the repatriation of profits is a little bit later in an operation, but a lot of the U.S. subsidiaries do source product from the parent company they have to pay for in euro. We have not just Italian, we have German subsidiaries in Atlanta that sell dollars, buy euro, and import components for their product that they complete manufacturing in the U.S. And there's a lot of, as you all know, there's a lot of European companies in the American Southeast, right? Southeast and Southwest. There's Atlanta's a big hub. I mean, in Texas, there's a lot of concentration European companies on the East Coast and the Southeast, right? There's a lot of companies growing in the U.S., so they need to manage this. So, of course, all the Italian companies, you have euro accounts based in Italy. When you, in this transaction here, when you're selling euro, basically, this transaction here where you're selling euro and you're buying dollars, you basically would send the euros, you're buying the dollars, you would send the euros to us we would provide our banking details. We have a euro account at Barclays, and you would send the euro there, and then we credit the dollars into this digital holding account. So you don't have to change anything with your European euro account. That stays exactly as it is. You just use it to fund this transaction with us. So we're a good source to move between Europe and the U.S. and then handle transactions in the U.S. And then, as I said earlier, once you do eventually have a bank account, to still be that intermediary between the home country and the U.S. So that's a little bit of how we work.
Great. I'm going to go ahead and grab back the host, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Thank you so much, guys. We have time for about one more question. Anybody have a question that they'd like to jump in for Andrew? We're just running short on time. Andrew, what is there? I mean, even if it were someone like me who does business with Italy, maybe, I do maybe 6 or 7 transactions a year, but I'm looking at your service going, wow, this would be a great service for me to know when I should grab that euro. I can hold the euro when I want it, and I can cash that money, or I can keep that money in euro because I'm going to go spend money in Europe.
Yes.
Is there any limit?
Absolutely. No, so we do not discriminate against smaller clients with smaller transactions. We're happy to work with them. And especially with that platform you just saw, it's easy for anyone to interact with it. So we have a good service team, but just to give you a sense, about 70% of our transactions are done on that platform. 30% people still call us, they talk with us, they email, but 70% is done on the platform. So sure, there's no problem. We're not, if it's small, in those small companies, some grow to be bigger, and we like to be with them right from the beginning. So we're happy to take anyone that sees the benefit of what we're doing.
Well, wow, I learned so much today, and I can see Alessia and I are both going, wow, we need to get in with the
Chamber of Commerce will join today. I was just waiting the webinar. So the Chamber of Commerce was the first one. And if I'm right, Andrew, for members and for the network and members of the Chamber of Commerce, you will have a good eye, right? You will have
One question. Can you hear me? This is Nicola Lorimer. I just have a quick question regarding the cost of all this service. Are you, is there a cost that is covered by the Chamber of Commerce? Is something that you charge us directly? Do you make your gain from the exchange rate? How many points do you take when I change from euros to dollars? Those are the biggies. PayPal, for example, that allows us to send money from here to there, charges us a fortune. It looks like the charge is small, but then when you go and see what they gave us for our euros or our dollars, we realize that we are suffering. I take my answer off the line, and thank you. This is terrific informational moment. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so you're exactly right. PayPal can be 3 or 4%, which is huge markups. Because you're coming to us through the chamber, you get a special discount on our transaction fee. So any international wire that we're sending from one country to another, we discount those 50%. So the wire fee is only $10. It's very inexpensive. Banks are typically $30 or $40. And so the rate of exchange, it's basically 75% less than PayPal. I mean, we're much tighter, lower markup. We have a small markup. We have to have some markup because that's how we keep the lights on. But it's much better than banks. It's 50% lower than bank rates. So the exchange rate is really in your favor when we're moving either way, euros to dollars or dollars to euro.
Excellent.
Terrific. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thanks for the question, Nicolo. That was on my mind too. Does anybody, we really are at the end of our time today.
Yeah.
John, and we lost John, but Andrew, I'm glad you guys
Yeah.
are all safe.
Yeah, and so the fire alarm went off. That's once every 6 months. Is crazy, and we don't know in advance when it's going to happen. But Alicia and the chamber can give you that one-page application that I showed. We can provide them, or you can get them from the chamber. Right, you're going to put up the landing page, I think, Alicia, with the information.
If I'm not mistaken, we have a link from you, Andrew, that we're going to share with everybody on this.
Yes.
webinar.
Yes. That way, when you come in through the link, because then we'll know it's coming from the chamber, and we can give you the special benefits. And then I'll see those and make sure the team is handling them, quickly.
Well, fantastic. It is time for us to wrap it up. Andrew, we'll thank John in absentia. I know he's already doing another presentation. I think everybody will agree with me that this was one of our best, really useful stuff. And I'll be in touch soon. Andrew,
Great.
thank you so much, and great to work with you guys.
Yeah, no, thank you very much to the chamber. We really appreciate the opportunity to talk with you all. It's a pleasure.
And I'll just say on a personal note that Andrew and John and I shared a family. I happened to be in the middle of a family transaction when we had a call set up from yesterday, and they were just lovely. They're just lovely people. Really enjoyed working with them. Guys, thank you so much for being on the webinar today. Francesca will follow up with everybody with that link. If you miss it because it ended up in your promotions folder, spam folder, just reach out to any of us. We will get you the link that gets the automatic discounts so that Monex knows you came through the chamber. And listen, everybody have a great day. Thank you so much for being here. We will.
Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Andrew and John.
Sure. Thank you.
Great. You guys are amazing. John and
Right. Thank you.
With financial forecasting and do webinars.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Okay, great. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day, everybody. Thank you for being here.
We'll post the whole call on our YouTube. Thank you very much.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.